Once, on a planet of wisdom known as Zenla, there lived a man of nobility and courage. Now, a new being lives in his stead. Behold, the Silver Surfer.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We are looking today at the Silver Surfer number 37 from 1990. We are continuing our not run, well, Jim Starlin's run on Silver Surfer, but I guess the road to the Infinity Gauntlet. So we've got the return of Drax the Destroyer, and if you only know Drax from the movies, you're gonna be kind of surprised by what we got here. So you see here that Drax is saying, "Where is Thanos?" And you can see that he is just irate here. Ron Lim has done this cover here. We've got the Silver Surfer, we got Eros, and I forget who this guy is, but I'm sure we will know inside. So I have a playlist. I started with 33. I started with the first Jim Starlin, and we are gonna go through and then into the Infinity Gauntlet. A destructive encounter. Jim Starlin is the writer, Ron Lim is the penciler, and Tom Christopher is the inker. Tom DeFalco is now editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, and Jim Shooter, rest in peace, Jim Shooter, who died last week as of this recording, was unceremoniously removed. So, Mighty Galactus gave me metallic skin and incredible powers. Jim Starlin most of the time narrates everything via first person, so we have the Silver Surfer here narrating. One of those talents is the ability to track anything through the near infinite distances of space. But can even I accomplish the goal I've set for myself? Will I be able to hunt down evil Thanos? And so we've got a picture of the Silver Surfer in the foreground, and in the background we've got the galaxy and the universe. And so we continue with the narration here. It's hard to believe that it was only yesterday Thanos and I met on this barren planet. He would have used his teleportation platform to depart from this desolate locale. He also used a spacecraft. My task would be a simple one. My powers could easily track the telltale microscopic emissions left by his vehicle, but Thanos is not your conventional spacefarer. He possesses teleportation technology, and that makes him an elusive quarry. And so now he's going to concentrate, basically. I'm not going to read all that, but he is going to concentrate to see if he can locate Thanos using everything in the subatomic and all sorts of stuff here. And he finds it here. And so the Silver Surfer is going to go look here. What manner of enemy have you made for yourself this time, Surfer? He asks himself. The end of this trail will answer the questions and so many other unspoken queries about Thanos and Titan. And then he goes, and then again, perhaps it won't. And he says here, the trail splits off into 6 different directions, disappearing into the depth of space. Once again, Thanos has outfoxed me. So, but they look like they're all going the same way. So, all right. He foresaw my ability of tracking him, and devised a means to thwart me. Always one step ahead, he says. And so here we have several hours later, and we are in Titan, which is a moon of Saturn, And no, Titan doesn't look like this, of course. It's not habitable, but this is comic books, so it is habitable in comic books. And so this is Mentor. Is the name of this character who I said in the beginning I forgot his name. So, and Mentor says, yes, even as a child, Thanos was terribly clever. Of course, that wouldn't have been a hardship if the lad hadn't been so so contemptibly evil also. And so we see the surfer is with him there. I'm sorry about dredging up such painful memories for you, Mentor, but Captain America claimed you would be my best source for information on Thanos. And Mentor says, and I'll gladly give it, for my firstborn is truly the devil personified. So he is Thanos' father. As I said, Thanos was always a problem as a child. Tantrums, sneak around, causing trouble. I thought he'd grow out of it. Then his mother died in a horrendous accident. At least that's what I thought. Sorry, that's what we thought it was at that time. Years later, it became terribly apparent that Thanos murdered her. So Thanos murdered his own mother. I believe Thanos, and Thanos was originally created when Marvel was, I believe, trying to find something that for the New Gods, which have been created by Kirby for DC. So this was their response. Imagine if Kirby had never left, what DC would have. They would have Darkseid, they would have Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, they would have the entirety of the New Gods. Isn't that something? The Demon. Kirby went and did that for DC. So, anyway, Mentor continues. He was only 10 years old at the time. Who would have thought? 8 years later, he killed a young girl in the same fashion. The monster held her captive in the woods for a week before he finally did her away. When we finally found her, it was ghastly. I like this in magenta here with the, oh, beautiful. And so we're getting an origin of Thanos because Thanos hasn't appeared in a while here. And so we continue here with the narration. Thanos fled Titan before we could apprehend him. He grew to full manhood out on the perilous outer rim of the galaxy. He was heir to great powers, and those wild territories taught him how to use those gifts ruthlessly. He survived and prospered within that environment for more than 8 decades. And then he returned home, truly a force to be reckoned with. Peaceful Titan fell easily before his dark might. And Silver Surfer says, please tell me about it. And so it says here, meanwhile, not 50 paces away in the planet's outer defense monitoring station. So this is Eros here. And he goes, what's this? And this robot here says something on the scanner, Master Eros. And Eros says, another visitor from space. 2 in 1 days. Amazing. This one also arrives without benefit of a spacecraft. I wonder who. And so he goes, well, a slight adjustment to the monitor will tell me, and you can see by the shape that we are, we've already been told in the cover, so that's kind of funny here that we're not shown. And he goes, by the great Nebula. Mentor must be informed immediately, so we know who it is if you saw on the cover that Drax is coming. And some wonderful screen tones here. And so Mentor says, because of the past experience and what you've told me about your recent encounter with Thanos, I must warn you, Surfer, take seriously his threat to kill off half the population of the universe. Even before returning from the dead, Thanos was quite capable and willing to accomplish such a dastardly act, because he was always fascinated by and had an incomprehensible relationship with death. And Surfer asks why. And great illustration here by Ron Lim. Thanos has long served that mistress death extremely well. There's only one way to stop Thanos from achieving his mad goal. You have to kill my son. Suddenly you can see some screaming in there. You can't go in there. What's this? And he says, sounds like my other son, Eros. And he says, we've met. And so you can see Eros being thrown through the door here. It says Silver Surfer 19, which we have not and most likely will not be covering here because I don't own it. I've never read any Silver Surfer except for the Jim Starlin. So this run with Jim Starlin I've read. I've read the 2-issue miniseries with Mobius that Stanley wrote. And then I've read the John Buscema issues. And I think a John Byrne special that was done. And then the last thing is, of course, I read his origins and stuff in Fantastic Four. So that's it. I have, of all the other stuff that has come out with Silver Surfer, nope, haven't read it. There's even some issues that I own that were drawn by Ron Garney. I like Ron Garney. And I've looked at them a lot, but mostly I'm looking at the art. And I believe Jim DeMatteis wrote them, and I still haven't read them. So maybe eventually. But Silver Surfer has never truly interested me as a character, but I must say that this run by Jim Starlin is phenomenal. So that's why I'm sharing it with you. It's actually, I own this entire series. I love it. And I'm a big fan of the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm a big fan of Jim Starlin. So, by the way, speaking of Jim Starlin, I've covered his entire Batman run, including the 4-issue limited series. Oh my goodness, that he did with Bernie Wrightson, The Cult. So I do have a Batman playlist. Feel free to check those out there. And so Drax the Destroyer has arrived, and you can see they're trying to hold him back. And so he's like, where is Thanos? So, good splash page there. And so Mentor says, in more ways than are immediately apparent, Drax always had some bond with Thanos. Drax was created by Kronos, the god of Titan, to punish Thanos. An admittedly half-hearted attempt at discipline. And of course, he's still going, where is Thanos? And so, Mentor continues, Kronos crafted the uncontrollable desire to see Thanos destroyed unto the soul of a dead Earthman. And Surfer asks, how did he do that? And Mentor says, who knows? We got a bit of a vertical panel here. So going down, he then housed that odd combination inside the nearly indestructible brute that now stands before you. And Surfer says, looks formidable. And Mentor says, he is, but not very efficient. And again, where is Thanos? And Mentor says, there's something wrong with him, asking the same question over and over again. I think that's a Surfer, perhaps. And Mentor says, my guess is that the odd nature of Thanos' revival has adversely affected the Destroyer's current reanimation. In the past, he was always unerringly guided to Thanos by some weird sixth sense. And Mentor continues, thus, we were spared the brother of all repetitious inquiries. And again, where's Thanos? And Eris is like, Surfer, yes, what do you want? He looks back. Oh, nothing, as he shoots the Silver Surfer here. And he lands on the wall here, and Mentor says, it would appear that Drax has been directing his questions at you this time. He must sense your recent proximity to my son. And again, where is Thanos? And Surfer is like, I wish I knew that myself. And he goes, where? And he goes, I don't know. Where? He's like, he's not very bright, is he? And Mentor says, suffered brain death in his last incarnation. And finally, the surfer has had enough. He's like, I don't know. And I repeat, I don't know, as he shoots him with his cosmic power. Understand? And he's like, yes, sort of. Then that settles that. And he's like, no, it don't. And so Drax says, Destroyer senses you meet Thanos again soon. And Surfer says, that's heartening news, I think. So Destroyer stick with you until then. And the Surfer says, I don't think so. I travel best alone. Mentor, thank you for all your help. I'll be going now. And Drax says, that feat may be more easily said than done. He's like, and so he holds the surfer, or the surfing board here, and the surfer is like, what? The brute is actually holding my board in place, keeping me from taking off. How? And Mentor says the Destroyer has always been able to tap into some seemingly limitless power reservoir. Kronos' gift to Drax for dealing with Thanos, I suppose. And the surfer, kind of looking back here, says, well, the Silver Surfer also knows something about power and tactics. Let us see how the Destroyer fares when I shift my momentum into reverse gear. And so he goes backwards here and takes Drax with him. And Arrow says, have fun. And Mentor is like, oh, sorry. Bye, guys. Have fun. And Mentor says, Eros, I'm shocked. Those two are extremely powerful beings in conflict. And Eros says, two extremely powerful boobs. They could end up killing one another, says Mentor. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? But I doubt we'll be that lucky, as he's kind of laughing it off. So off they go here. Surfer is wondering how he can deal with Drax here. And he's going to send him against an asteroid here. And Drax is like, let us go find Thanos. And so they plow through that asteroid. And he's like, well, that was the end of that nonsense. I feel somewhat bad about dealing with Drax in such a manner. But I sensed he possessed enough power to be no more than shaken up by that. I had to lose him. No telling what problems he'd create for me while searching for Thanos. It would have been like traveling with the Hulk. And then he's like, now too. And then he's like, huh? And he's still there. And he's like, where is Thanos? And he's like, oh, we're back to that. What say to a little dip into the sun? See how fireproof you are. You can hop off anytime it gets too hot for you, Drax. You can fly, can't you? And so they're going to go to that star here. And it doesn't work here. Still asking, where's Thanos? And Surfer's like, well, that was a complete waste of time. Tell me, Drax, are you capable of feeling any pain? And he goes, only the aching desire to see Thanos dead. So, believe it or not, we're almost done here. We're going to have a bit of an anticlimactic, but very, I find it very creative way to end this fight. So the Surfer goes, I think I have a plan. And he's like, take me to Thanos. And he's like, Drax, I just remembered a way to locate Thanos. And he's like, tell me how. And he's like, we got to go to Earth. And there's an information machine. And so they head to Earth here. And they go to Four Freedoms Plaza, home of the Fantastic Four. And they're going to look for the information machine, which Johnny says is a computer. And nope, it's a TV. This is before televisions were flat here. And so they're going to watch a little TV. So we've got Lucy here, and Drax is watching. He says, I remember Lucy. And they're watching these things. And just a bunch of stuff here. And finally the Surfer looks. And then they're gone. And now it's the Beaver. And he's like, where's Surfer? And the Silver Surfer has left him. And that's it. That's the end of the issue, as he smiles, was able to outsmart Thanos. And I thought that was pretty cool. So Next, a showdown with Thanos. The Silver Surfer number 37 by Jim Starlin and Ron Lim. I really do like Jim Starlin, and when we get to the Infinity Gauntlet, you're gonna have the whole story as to how we got to that point. So, hope you enjoyed this story. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.